Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom surrounded by green mountains and crystal rivers, there lived a young king named David. At only 25, he had inherited the throne after the peaceful passing of his father, the beloved king who had ruled with fairness and compassion. Growing up, David was not just raised by royal tutors. He was shaped by a man who became more important than any textbook. Edward, a wise and gentle teacher with decades of experience. Edward taught him philosophy, compassion, discipline, and above all, how to be a king who listens before he speaks and thinks before he acts. When David's father died, the kingdom mourned deeply. In this difficult time, Edward stepped in as David's strongest pillar. He supported him in every decision and guided him like a father. David grew into a confident young king, admired by his people. But life rarely remains smooth. One year, the kingdom faced a severe and unexpected food crisis. Crops dried early, rains arrived late, and the royal granaries were left half empty. Every household worried about survival. The disaster happened because of a small mistake, an incorrect weather forecast prepared by Edward. A miscalculation, just one, but enough to weaken the kingdom's food plan. David, already stressed by public pressure, became furious. Blinded by anger, he yelled, "Edward, you failed this kingdom. Leave my palace and never return." Edward's heart felt heavy. After a lifetime of loyalty, one mistake changed everything. Without protest, without defending himself, he bowed respectfully and left with quiet dignity. He walked away from the palace, the guards, the luxury, and the life he had built around his student. He settled far away in a peaceful village, choosing a simple life as a farmer. Even though he had wealth, he preferred humility. He helped villagers, taught children, and solved disputes with calm wisdom. Soon the villagers loved him dearly. Meanwhile, back in the kingdom, David slowly began to feel the weight of his decision. Every day without Edward felt heavier. Every problem seemed more difficult. Every decision felt uncertain. He realized the painful truth. He had punished the wrong man, and his anger had cost him the wisest guide he ever had. Filled with regret, David sent soldiers to search every corner of the kingdom. They returned with the same answer: "We found no one named Edward." The kingdom was vast, and Edward had disappeared like a drop of water in the ocean. One night, sitting alone in his study, David remembered a teaching Edward once shared. A wise man does not shout for attention. He lets wisdom speak for him. An idea sparked. David ordered his soldiers to deliver a clay jar and a letter to every village leader in the land. The letter said, "Return this jar filled with wisdom within a month. If not, then fill it with precious jewels instead." The kingdom buzzed with confusion. How can wisdom be put in a jar? Villagers wondered. Eventually, the letter reached the village where Edward now lived. The village head rushed to Edward, handing him the letter nervously. "Master Edward, the king asks for the jar to be filled with wisdom. We have no jewels. Please save us." Edward read the letter. He understood immediately. It was not just a test for the villagers but a message, a call, a whisper from David, a sign that the king still sought his wisdom. Edward reassured the villagers gently. "Do not worry. Bring me the jar. With time, wisdom will grow." He placed the empty jar beside his small farmland. As he sat quietly thinking, he noticed a tiny pumpkin vine curling along the soil. A sudden idea lit up his mind, simple, elegant, wise. Carefully, he placed a baby pumpkin inside the jar without cutting the vine. Day after day, he watered it. Day after day, the pumpkin slowly grew. It expanded, filling the space until finally, it became impossible to remove without breaking the jar. Perfect metaphor, perfect lesson. When the month ended, Edward sent the jar back. No jewels, no letter, no explanation, just the pumpkin grown by patience. When David saw the jar, his eyes widened. Inside it was a giant pumpkin, perfectly shaped to the jar. He whispered, "Wisdom cannot be forced inside a jar, but if guided from the beginning, it grows within." Only one man could create such brilliance: Edward. David immediately set out with a small group of soldiers to find him, not as a king searching for his minister, but as a student searching for his teacher. Hours later, they reached the quiet village. There, near the fields, stood Edward, hair gray, clothes simple, hands holding a farming tool. When David approached, his voice trembled. "Edward, I wronged you. I let anger blind my judgment. Please forgive me. Return with me. The kingdom needs you. I need you." Edward smiled gently. "Anger clouds even the brightest mind. David, you were young and afraid. I forgive you." David exhaled in relief, eyes moist. The villagers watched silently as the old teacher placed his hand on the king's shoulder. But Edward added, "Before I return, you must promise me something. Never let anger decide your actions. Think with a calm heart. Listen with a patient mind." David bowed his head. "I promise." Together, they returned to the kingdom, greeted by cheering crowds. David reinstated Edward as the chief minister. Under the guidance of wisdom and patience, the kingdom once again flourished. And David carried one lesson throughout his life. Wisdom grows only with patience. Decisions made in anger lead to regret. A calm mind sees truth clearly.